Are you feeling discomfort or pressure or heaviness in the pelvic area? Well, you're not alone. So many women deal with pelvic organ prolapse, and this pressure down here in your pelvic area is often not talked about enough. Women are silenced over pelvic organ prolapse, but today I'm going to talk through some solutions that you may not know about. My name is Dr. Dawn Andalone. I'm a pelvic floor specialist, women's health physical therapist, and as so many women deal with this frustrating or embarrassing and fearful issue of pelvic organ prolapse, I just want to make you feel more empowered about your body and therefore explain some simple solutions and give you this beginner's guide to pelvic organ prolapse solutions. If you go to your doctor, oftentimes you are recommended for a surgery. But did you know that pelvic organ prolapse symptoms can be eased and improved significantly by doing the right types of lifestyle and diet changes, posture changes, and also exercises? I would go through any of these more holistic options first, even before considering surgery, no matter how bad your prolapse is. So pelvic organ prolapse happens when the tissues around the vaginal area, they weaken, and especially in this menopause stage where estrogen levels are dropping, changing the hormonal levels will also affect the vaginal muscle and create more atrophy within there or muscle weakness. Now, those pelvic organs are held up by ligaments, and when you're feeling pressure or heaviness, those symptoms that you might even see a bulging area through the vaginal opening or rectal opening, or feel like it's a ball in that area, well, don't fear. It's actually not the organs coming out. You're feeling the pressure of the vaginal wall collapsing. And so with those pelvic organs, your bladder, your uterus, your rectum, you may get more symptoms of bowel changes, bladder frequency or urgency, or even just the pain or uncomfortable feeling. It is oftentimes that women say standing for a long period of time on their feet is uncomfortable, or they're sitting in the car and they may feel that pressure in the saddle region and it's not comfortable. So what can you do first off? So first, we're going to talk about lifestyle changes. Exercise. Key to healing is pelvic floor exercises. I'm not just talking about clenching and tightening those muscles like a Kegel type exercise you may have read online to do Kegels and strengthen your pelvic floor. You want to learn how those muscles function, but also not put extra pressure down on your pelvic floor. So what does that mean? Well, you don't want to just be doing Kegels all the time. You really want to learn how to get this whole area around your core stronger and more stable, but then also learn how to let go of the pelvic floor muscles as well as contract them. So when you're tensing and tightening any other muscle group in your body and you're doing it all the time, but it's not improving your symptoms, well, your pelvic floor muscles may actually be restricted and constricted and shortened. And therefore, if you keep tensing and tightening them, your symptoms will not improve. So number one is learning how to do some breathing exercises. Simple breathing exercises can release the pelvic floor and be more in tune with those muscles so they can actually work properly and support. I would advise you to go through some diaphragmatic breathing exercises. It sounds very basic, but I love to do this at the end of the day, especially if you've done a lot of standing or walking, is putting your legs up the wall and doing some breathing exercises. With your legs up the wall, it looks like this. So as you can see, I'm getting close to the wall. I'll lie down on my back and put my legs up here. It doesn't matter how close you get, but I just have enough where my feet are supported. And you can also put some pillows under your tailbone. This will be more comfortable and allow those pelvic organs to feel like they're more in the right place rather than feeling that downward pressure. So in this position, you're doing some breathing exercises, breathing into your belly with a big inhale and then exhale. And if you're resting there doing some relaxation breathing, you're going to have less stress and pressure on your pelvic floor. Sounds too easy to be true, but I promise you, a lot of people with pelvic organ prolapse are tensing their pelvic floor too much, so they need to learn how to let those muscles go. So after legs up the wall, you can also do some bridge exercises. And I have my knees bent, but you're gonna do some breathing with your exhale happening as you lift your bottom up. Being in this position works against gravity and allows the pressure of the pelvic organs improve by doing some bridging exercises. So you can do these a few times a day, but very helpful if you spend a lot of time standing or your symptoms are more pronounced, that you can do these types of exercises. So you can do about 10 to 20 at a time. You want to make sure your breathing is in sync with your exercises. So as a general rule, do an exhale as you're engaging your muscles and as you're doing the effort. This will take stress off your pelvic area if you're exhaling with the movement. And therefore, you want to have less intra-abdominal pressure and less pressure down on your pelvic floor. So this goes into my second tip with lifestyle changes is avoid lifting anything too heavy. If your muscles aren't strong enough and stable enough to support you, you will get increased symptoms if you are lifting anything heavy and you're not doing it with the proper breathing or control. So it's great to work on these foundational types of exercises and getting your core and your pelvic floor stronger before you go into lifting anything heavy. So if your symptoms are more pronounced, it's definitely not the time to do increased weight training unless you're working with a pelvic floor physical therapist or you've done a lot of core work and restorative work so your muscles are more stable and you have less symptoms. But as a general rule, work on that exhale as you lift anything. If you're lifting a child, if you're lifting your groceries, do an exhale as you lift. Then your posture. I mentioned this just briefly before, but your posture has a lot to do with your pelvic organ prolapse symptoms. And if you're getting more pressure or heaviness and you tend to sit back on your tailbone a lot, maybe in a couch or a comfy chair, and you spend a lot of time that way, you're going to shorten those muscles and it's going to create more pressure on your pelvic organs. So getting over your sits bones, lining up your spine and getting up nice and tall, keeping your ribs stacked right over your hips when you are sitting or standing. This is going to be more comfortable so you can breathe easier. Your pelvic floor muscles will be more supportive that way and won't be in a shortened position. Other exercises like Pilates or yoga, that's more gentle and therapeutic. I'm not talking about power yoga or high intensity Pilates exercises, but more restorative types of exercise and swimming can be very helpful too, to work the muscles around your core and your midsection without having the excess pressure or stress down on your pelvic organs. Also, dietary changes. You might want to look at what your diet includes. If you're getting any constipation, then this definitely can make your symptoms worse because you're bearing down and putting more pressure on your pelvic organs. So in turn, you want to look at a higher fiber diet, things that are going to soften the stool and make your bowel movements more comfortable. Also, if you are noticing that you're running to the bathroom all the time with your bladder, you may be eating or drinking things that are creating more of a bladder stimulant, like citrus, carbonated beverages, even mineral water, bubbly water. This can stimulate your bladder, or lots of coffee or tea, even decaf drinks and sugary foods or beverages. This can all stimulate your bladder and making you feel like you have to run to the bathroom more often. So other interventions, you may want to talk to your doctor about getting a pessary, being fitted for what's called a pessary that can take stress and pressure off of that area. You insert it vaginally, you can be fitted for one, and therefore you can do more activity without as many symptoms. This in turn is helpful to do along with pelvic floor exercises to be able to help you with really getting to the root cause of why the prolapse is happening, but it can act as a great way if you're going to do a lot of walking or be standing for a long period of time, that is going to eliminate your symptoms getting worse and can actually really help in the meantime while you're working on the exercises. In severe cases, after you have tried all of what I have mentioned before and you have stayed consistent with an exercise program and your symptoms are not improving, then surgery might be an option for you. It's not for everyone, but I would highly recommend going to see more than one doctor to get another opinion, as there's different types of methods of prolapse surgery and different surgeons do different techniques. So it's helpful to know what the recovery is going to be like and also what the success rates are. So I hope you found this video helpful. I also have a wonderful program that includes more of a pelvic floor Pilates type restorative exercise program to help you with your core and your pelvic floor, learning not only how to strengthen the muscles, but also how to release them too, which is very important and you won't find in other Pilates exercise videos and routines. So I hope you also find more information on this channel to do with prolapse. I want to help guide you in the right direction and not make you feel worried or scared about having a prolapse. A lot of women do have this, and at all stages in their life, but you can find a lot of relief in a holistic manner without it affecting your daily activities or your sexual function too. So thanks so much for watching, and hit subscribe if you haven't already. I love sharing this helpful women's health tips with you every week. Have a wonderful day, and I wish you healing.